via email. You will receive via email as well, next to the link, a full presentation about KIVA and the KIVA process and what to expect, so that you will have everything that we share now at your fingertips. You just go back to the document and get the knowledge that you needed or refresh your memory. Plus, I'll be here to assist you throughout the process, so feel free to reach out to us. You can visit our website, brattleborodevelopment.com, go through our business services and send us an inquiry, and we'll be in touch with you very, very soon. Okay, I guess it's only fair to start. I don't want to waste anyone's time. I really appreciate you showing up and being on the call with us. Just a quick preview of BDCC. BDCC is one of the 12 RDCs in Vermont. We support businesses mainly and community as well. We have a lot of different programs. I myself am from the business service team. As I mentioned before, I work with small businesses and entrepreneurs and help them develop anything that they need to better run or grow their businesses. In addition to KIVA, which we will cover throughout this meeting or webinar, we also have several programs that you can benefit from, lending programs that is, that are specifically tailored for small business owners that cannot get credit elsewhere from banks, or other traditional lenders. So if you are interested in learning more about those other programs, again, feel free to reach out to us. Or we're also organizing an event on the 22nd of February, in that event will invite lenders from our community. So you'll see a lot of banks from our community alongside with BDCC's offerings, so you can get to know all the programs that are available for you and any assistance that you can get. So that's something you can also, we look forward to seeing you there. I think it's fair to kick off the meeting by welcoming Beth from LISC. Beth is a program officer. She's from Rural Risk, and I think this program is really here because we were able to partner with LISC. Otherwise, this wouldn't have happened. Here in Vermont, we are the first organization to be assigned as a trustee for KIVA, and that's all thanks to LISC. So thank you, Beth, for being on the call with us. I really appreciate your time being here. Thank you for all your support throughout that process. For those on the call with us, can you please tell us a bit about what LISC is and what KIVA is?
Sure. So thank you for having me today. And we love our partnership with the Brattleboro, the BDCC, too many acronyms.
Yeah, right.
And I had the pleasure of visiting in a small window in the fall where it was safe to travel and see the work that you guys are doing, and it's phenomenal. And I'm really happy to be here today to share a little bit more about our partnership and answer questions that you all might have about KIVA. So first, let me just tell you a little bit about LISC, and then I can jump into a little bit more about the actual KIVA and the way that LISC works with KIVA, so you have a sense of what you get as a potential borrower through KIVA. So LISC is a national CDFI, so we're a community development finance institution. So we also do our own lending as an organization. Historically, we've really worked in the affordable housing space, but in the last 5 or 6 years, we've really gotten into working with economic development with a focus on small business. And so we do our own small business lending, but we also work with partners like the BDCC across the country and rural communities to help support economic development more broadly. And so one of the programs that I manage is the relationship between KIVA and LISC. So for those of you who aren't familiar, KIVA is a global microfinance platform. It actually started in communities from the global South and then came to the United States about 10 years ago. But it's the world's first micro lending website where borrowers can access 0% interest loans with 0 fees up to $15,000. And it relies on the power and strengths of social and community networks. The tool is usually in, the loans are usually in 1 to 3 year terms with a monthly repayment, and everything is dispersed and repaid through PayPal. So it's a really low barrier for access and an easy way to access the loans using a platform that a lot of people are already utilizing. And so how our partnership with LISC works is we identify organizations like BDCC who is doing work in communities with small business owners, and we bring them on as a trustee. And that's something that KIVA is no longer doing. They're no longer bringing on trustees unless it's through a partnership like the one with LISC. So that's kind of the added value of connecting through BDCC, because they had that connection and they're starting to build out kind of the ecosystem for microfinance in the community. And like it was mentioned, this is the first opportunity in the state of Vermont to be able to access KIVA in Vermont. So we're really excited about that.
So for those on the call with us, they have an overview of LISC and KIVA now and what they're trying to achieve, and how that partnership works actually, and how it made available this program here in Vermont. Is there any tips that, or maybe you can share if you would like, a success story where small business owner got KIVA and helped them with their businesses, or just general tips for those who are looking to apply for KIVA loan?
Yeah, so I think the other really exciting thing about the partnership with LISC is able to contribute at least half of the loan price or the loan being raised towards the total goal. So if a borrower is looking for $10,000, LISC will put in $5,000 through our partnership with BDCC. So I just wanted to make sure to mention that, because that's really important in kind of making it easier to get your loan funded. But to your actual question, yeah, the great thing about KIVA is it can be used by any sort of business at any stage, which is unlike some other traditional financing, which requires you to have 2 or 3 years of revenue in place. So KIVA is a great tool for startup businesses who may, or like maybe market-based businesses who, you know, participate in farmers markets or have, you know, an Etsy shop or are working out of their home, but they're looking to expand and grow their business. KIVA is a great tool for those business owners. We had a business, we have a trustee in East Texas that's been phenomenal. And they've done probably 20 loans with different entrepreneurs over the last year. And one of the business owners was a candy shop that focuses on Mexican candies. And she was laid off during the pandemic and decided to kind of refocus her energies into starting her own business. So her company is called Tasty Jacks. And oftentimes people in their rural community used to have to drive to Houston to get Mexican candies. So she wanted to bring that into her community and make it more accessible. And so she was able to use a KIVA loan to pay for a storefront, so she could actually open a candy store utilizing her candies. And they've had great success. The owner has come and spoken on a few different webinars that LISC has hosted just to share her story. And I think one of her biggest messages is the biggest barrier was just her own mindset, both around thinking KIVA must be too good to be true. So understanding that this is a real tool and it's designated to kind of solve a problem that we've all identified in the access to capital space, to bring something that's a lower barrier and that can really help businesses grow. But then the crowdfunding component of asking your friends and family to lend to you can be a challenge too. And so just getting over that and having some conversations with friends and family and putting it out there in social media and asking for support. Because oftentimes small businesses, you guys are providing a service that the community wants or needs, and it's really an investment in improving the community and bringing something new to the community. And people are excited to do that when, you know, there's a new service or a new tool or a new product that excites them. So getting over that initial fear is really another barrier that we've heard from our KIVA trustees can be the largest. It's not the platform itself or how to utilize it. It's just being ready to put yourself out there.
getting the support from the community. And
Mhm.
that's something that we'll touch on later today. We have on the call a marketing expert that will help us understand how to better run the campaigns and how to build a strong campaign that can attract the support from the community. Beth, I really appreciate your time. Thank you so very much. You're welcome to stay on the call with us. If there's any question to Beth, please feel free to unmute yourself and ask the question, or you can put it in the chat and we'll get to the question as soon as possible. I'm gonna give it a second or so to see if there's any questions coming in for Beth before I start my presentation for KIVA. Yes, Lisa.
I have a question. So could you just, I'm just curious again, like what it sounds like is that you work with a lender, you crowdsource your loan, so you have people contribute, and then basically you get a loan from the lender, but you're able to pay it back through your crowd funding. Is that how you do it? How do the people who lent the money to you get repaid?
Yeah, actually, they are the lenders. So BDCC is the trustee. So they're the partner organization that just helps to manage the relationships. But the loan is actually coming from the people that lend to you on the KIVA platform. And they get repaid through KIVA. So KIVA gives you the money that they collected through their platform. And then when you repay it, they repay your lenders. And so like I lend to a lot of campaigns right now, and I'll get an email and it'll say, you got a repayment. And it's like, this entrepreneur repaid you 25 cents. And so, because they're dividing it against all the people that contributed to the loan when they get a repayment. So that's how
what
that
I was
works.
wondering, is if it's like, if you're getting repaid in little tiny increments, or if people can elect to say, I'll be repaid in one chunk at the end. Like, I just didn't know if it was, how that worked.
Yeah, KIVA sets that repayment schedule based on the size of the loan and what your repayment would be. And then when they receive the money, they then repay the lenders.
That's very cool.
Great question, Lisa. Thank you. Okay, I think I will start sharing my screen. I hope that will work. Awesome. I have several screens, so bear with me as I manage my multifunctional technology desk. So what are the eligible requirements to apply for KIVA? The eligibility requirements are really easy. They're not challenging at all. So if you're over 18 years old, and I guess everyone on the call here is over 18 years old, if you have a PayPal account, or if you are able to create a PayPal account, that's definitely eligibility. If you have not filed for bankruptcy or foreclosure before, then also currently in bankruptcy or foreclosure. If you have no violent or financial criminal conviction for the past 5 years. And really, the biggest piece is the emphasis on entrepreneurs with household income less than $100,000, which maybe most of us fit into that criteria. So these are the 5 eligibility requirements to be able to apply for KIVA loan. The ineligible businesses, those who cannot apply for KIVA, are contract workers for large organizations. And an example is, let's say, Uber. If you're an Uber driver driving your car and you want to fix your car or buy a new car, you're not eligible to apply for a KIVA loan. Same as Airbnb. If you rent your room or home for Airbnb, you will not be eligible to apply. If you are applying for a loan so you can take that money and invest it in the financial market, that's an eligible use of the money, and so you're really not eligible to apply for the loan in the first place. If your business deals with any illegal federal activities, naming gambling, hemp products, cannabis product, that's also an eligibility. Businesses dealing with weapon shops, multi-level marketing, those marketing schemes, pyramid schemes, adult entertainment, direct sellers are ineligible businesses. And if you want to use the money to pay or refinance your debt, then that's also an ineligible use of funds, and you will not be eligible to apply for KIVA. Most successful borrowers from KIVA are tech-able, and by that we mean that you are responsive by email, you keep checking your email, you're very responsive, you have a PayPal account, you know how to navigate the website, so it's very minimal kind of requirement, and it's a plus, it's a good skill that everyone has. If you are significantly impacted by a small loan between $500 to $10,000, and that will help you maybe increase your revenue or reduce your costs or expenses, that's also something that most successful borrowers share. If you have a strong, Beth said, if you have a strong network of supporters from the community and otherwise, family, friends, that's a plus. And finally, if you have a business plan, that's a plus. From the technical assistance here at BDCC, we can also help you develop a business plan if you don't have one, so you don't have to stress about it. The ideal loan uses, they're mainly kind of the most use of funds that through KIVA were distributed over buying equipment. If you're looking to buy new equipment, working capital, and by that we mean paying day-to-day expenses, paying electricity bill, rent bill, all of that. If you're looking to buy more inventory, being final products or raw material, that count into a good use of the funds. There are also less frequent used ways you spend the money, and that would be hiring new employees, renting new space, as Beth shared with us the story from Texas. If you want to spend the money on creating an advertising campaign or marketing campaign for your business, that's also another use. If you want to do some research and development, if you want to produce a new product, so the research and development for that piece can be also covered via LISC. The application process itself is also very easy. KIVA process starts with submitting the loan application, but I'd like to talk about the BDCC piece of it, which comes before that. And that is, you send us the inquiry that you are interested in applying for a loan. We can talk about what kind of loan. If you're looking for a KIVA, we can sit and walk through the loan application itself. We can help you build that loan application. We can take a look at your financials, see if there's any room for adjustment or improvements that we can help you with. We can help you with the business plan just so that you have it, and that will support also your loan application. And then we will send you towards filling the loan application itself from KIVA. Through that interaction with BDCC, there's some requirements to see if you are responsive, if you're active, if you really need that money and you're willing to pay it back, then BDCC will most likely endorse you. And that would activate, the endorsement would activate the match that Beth just talked about. And that means that if you're looking to get a $10,000 loan, you will only have to worry about just getting the 5,000 benchmark from your community to support you, and then LISC and KIVA would match that amount, and you will get the $10,000. The second step in the process would be the loan application will be reviewed by KIVA. It can take up to 2 weeks for the review, but you'll have to keep a close eye on your email. If you receive an email and you don't respond to that, then your application will be rejected directly from KIVA. It will not go any further. So I highly advise that you will keep an eye on your email as soon as you send in your application. The third piece of it, if you get approved, you will start your private fundraising event, and that can take up to 15 days, where you would do some outreach for your community, your friends and family, and they can support you as low as $25 per donation. So that would be something to kick off your fundraising campaign. The second piece of it, after the 15 days, it will go public. And when it goes public, it can go up to 30 days in the public, and that will mean that KIVA lenders all around the world will have access to your pitch. And if they are interested in supporting your business, then they can go ahead and fund you and your business as well. Once you get the money, hopefully through PayPal, as Beth mentioned, you will start repaying it back after 1 month. So you'll have like a 1 month kind of grace period where you don't have to pay it back. And there are no penalty for repayment. So if you feel like you have enough money to pay the whole thing back, you just pay it back and there's no penalty for that. The loan amount and terms are determined based on how long you've been in business. So if you're a startup, and that means that you've been in business for less than 12 months, you will be able to apply for something between $500 to $2,000. And the amount is also, or limits the term for how long you can have the loan running. So if you look at the table here in the example, you'll see that if you applied for $1,000 loan, then the maximum loan term would be 12 months. The minimum loan term would be 6 months. And that is roughly what is your monthly payment, step by step as we go down the list. If you are a new business, that means that you've been in business for between 1 and 3 years. You can apply for something between $3,000 to $5,000. And then again, the limits to the loan term and how much your payment is per month is provided in here. Don't worry about the table itself. It's included in the presentation that I will send after this call is ended. Hopefully by Monday you will have it. Lastly, if you are a well-established business, and that means that you've been in business for over 3 years, you can apply for somewhere between $6,000 to $10,000.
One quick note there, they have increased the maximum to 15,000 during the pandemic. Not all the marketing materials reflect that, so I just wanted to note that.
Thank you, Beth. And that was a concern that we shared already with KIVA. Our material said $10,000, the website said 15, and we weren't sure what to include, so we went with the safe bet, which is the lower end. But thank you for that. So now you know that the maximum amount is $15,000. The loan application itself is divided into 2 parts. The first part is about you and your business. And the second part is your pitch, which all lenders will be able to see on KIVA. So I will start with the first part, which is the personal information. Details about you, such as your name, your address, your phone number, your email address, gender, birthday, your language, primary language. If you are a veteran, immigrant, refugee, all of this information is valuable for your application and is required that you fill it in. The second piece of your personal information is your personal finances. And by that, we mean how much your household income is, how many people do you support financially, including yourself, any unpaid bills that you have, did you file for bankruptcy before, and some details on your monthly bills. If you have a credit card, is there any outstanding balance on that credit card? What is the average credit card monthly payment? So this is a part of the personal finances. It's not intimidating, it's straightforward. It's just to give KIVA a perspective on what you owe and what you have. And that will determine how much you'll be eligible to get funds for. The second piece of part 1, which is the business information. And here you will have to put your business name, industry, how many years you've been in business. If you have employees, how many employees do you have? Are they full-time, part-time? Your business address. If you have any online presence, which is I encourage everyone to do, especially now during COVID, that's something that you should have thought about so far. So online presence, such as maybe social media, if you have a website, if you have a Twitter account, Etsy store, Yelp, any kind of online presence that you have, you will include it in this section. Plus, you will have to include some documentation proving that you have a registered business. The business finances, you will have to reflect your annual revenue for the past 12 months. If you have any debt, business financial debt, if you have any business bank accounts, if you have any outstanding debts, what is that amount? How much you pay per month. So that's information to share in the business finance section. Now we will jump. I'm going to pause, see if there's any question about that so far before I jump into the last, most important section of the whole process. Okay, cool. The last part is crafting your narrative, and that means you creating your own pitch. The pitch should include a picture, the loan statement, a personal story about yourself, business description, and how will you use the loan. The video is optional. I'm going to give you some details about these points. The picture should be a horizontal picture of you smiling, showing your beautiful smile with a representation of your business. So that would be maybe holding a product. Maybe if you have a store front, then you inside your store, outside your store with your sign, however you like it. Just make sure that it's horizontal and you're showing your beautiful shiny smile. As I mentioned, that the video is optional. It can be 1 minute, it's limited to 1 minute long. You can feature and showcase your business, your products, and talk about it through that 1 minute. The loan statement should be one short sentence. You can simply complete a given sentence that starts with a KIVA loan of X amount of dollars helps me, and then you be very specific about how that amount or KIVA loan will help you and your business. Then we will jump to the personal story, and it's really just something under 300 words that you can tell the lenders more about you, your background, your passions, what you do, how you get to this point. And then we jump to the business description, where also you will have under 300 words to describe and tell the lenders about what you do in your business. What is your business? How did you start? And what is your next step? Finally, the loan uses, that's a description of the loan, which is simply 2 or 3 sentences describing how we'll use the money from the loan. So if you're planning to buy a new equipment, that would be just buying a new equipment that helped me maybe increase productivity or decrease my expenses. Whatever that thing that you want to use the loan for, just you can put it there and describe how it will help you in your business. Any questions so far? I've been going so fast, I don't want to give everyone the opportunity to ask anything they have on mind.
There's a lot of questions in the chat.
Okay, sorry, let me see that. Okay, is this limited to Brattleboro businesses or Vermont businesses? That's a great question. We, as an RDC that serves Wyndham region, we are limiting our service area for now for the Wyndham region. If any inquiries comes from outside our region, we'll be in touch with their local RDCs and kind of navigate that to see how we can help and support accessing inexpensive or 0% interest loans. So that will be something that we'll have a further discussion with our partners and other RDCs in our area, Vermont, that is. So as long as you are a registered business with the state of Vermont and you can show documentation of that, you are eligible to apply for the loan. The loan rate is 0%, so you don't pay any interest at all. You just pay back the principal. So if you, I will go back to my table here. So if you just simply divide $1,000 over 12 months, that's exactly what the amount would be. That would be like maybe $5 over the $1,000, just an approximation. So there's no interest to be paid at all. You don't have to worry about interest. You're just paying back the principal. I will double check if there's any other questions in the chat. Okay, I can see no other question. I'll give it another second before I jump to our next guest. Something came in. That's a great question, Andrew. Beth, would you be able to help us understand how does KIVA cover its cost, and how does the investor putting up their money get their return?
Sure. So the lenders know that it's a 0% interest loan, so that they won't be getting interest back on the money that they lend. So that's part of it. And then KIVA has a couple ways that they get their funds. When anybody lends to KIVA, they ask for anybody to put a small donation in addition to what they're lending, maybe $2 or $3. If somebody, you can opt out, but that's one way that they fundraise, and that's how they do get most of their money, is through lenders contributing. But they also have different earned revenue models. In larger cities, for example, they have something called a KIVA hub that has an annual fee of $25,000. LISC, to participate in this program and bring this resource to our communities, we invest in it. So for example, the rural program puts in $10,000 a year that goes to KIVA to help manage the partnership we have with them. And they rely on philanthropic support, as well as that's how LISC gets our money for our matching dollars. Wells Fargo was the funder who, through philanthropic contributions, supported the matching dollars. And then we recycle them and continue to bring them to business owners. I do have to jump. I know you have another guest. I just wanted to say thank you again. I do have to jump to another call, but Ed has all the answers and has my contact information if anything comes up that I can help with moving forward. And congratulations, everybody, on being able to access this tool. We're all really excited about it.
Thank you so very much, Beth. Thank you for your time. Okay, I will stop sharing my screen now, and I would like to welcome our next guest. She is a marketing expert, and please welcome Ella. Hey, Ella, good evening.
Hi, Ella. Or hi.
Yeah, same letter. We start with the same letter.
Yeah.
There's A. How are you today?
I'm great. Thank you for inviting me here. Happy to be here and help.
Thank you for taking the time to be on the call with us. I know that everyone on the call would appreciate the tips that you would share with us. And for that, I will start by asking you a couple of questions. We know that a successful successful campaign starts with telling a captive story that kind of attracts lenders. What are some tips that you can give to writing a compelling case? So when businesses are writing their narrative, what should be thinking about?
Yes. So even before thank you for that question. Before getting to the brand's narrative, I want to even start with the narrative of marketing versus branding. And what I offer and work in is branding. And the difference that I want to distinguish as how you think about this is that marketing is often thought of as a separate channel. It is often thought of after a business plan. It is often numbers driven, and it is incrementally evolved over time by small increments in data witnessed over time. Branding is And marketing is also really, it's triggering the prefrontal cortex of the brain. It's really about the rational aspect of what you're buying. And when you get into branding, it's integrative. And so the beauty of it is that no part of your business should be thought of as separate. And so it doesn't need to be a separate channel. It should not be extra work. And it is about additive. It's about adding value to your whole story, to your whole brand, so that you don't have to market discounts, promotions, and one-off stories. And so what I really offer is this one perspective that I shared a TED talk that the BDCC will share after this workshop that has this much more in detail, but that it's a very simple concept of starting with the why. Why do you exist? And this is what you're already going to have to answer in the questionnaire. And so what's the purpose of this? Why do you get out of the morning to put all of your energy into this business? This is the story. This is the feeling that actually touches the human in the limbic brain. It's the feeling that drives us to act. And it's the feeling that will keep your loyal customers coming back, and you want to bring them along through the whole journey. And the why, it's really about what you believe in and what's the point. And it can be ever changing. And that's sort of the part of branding too. It's more about consistency over time, but being true to those core values that you define in the beginning, that you're already going to be doing in your business plan. But don't think about it as these business plan questions. Think about this as I'm building a brand and this is my story, and everything I write for this business plan should be able to be consumer facing.
Great, thank you. A big part of crowdfunding is obviously getting the funds that you need to do whatever you want to do with it. But the bigger part is building the sense of community and the trust in the community so that they can support you and your idea and project. When do you think a business that is interested in crowdfunding should start building their communities and campaigns? Should they wait until they apply for the loan, or is it something that they should be doing ahead of submitting their loan application?
Yes, I say yesterday. The story starts immediately. You're in the story now. So the best thing you can do is start where you are and bring people along, even if you don't know. And so getting your story out and choosing. And for me, it's not about, there's not one right platform. It's where is your guest, your customer, and just being in that platform regularly and consistently. And
So if someone has decided to go through KIVA to apply for a loan, and they probably will send in their loan application, should they start like sending out teasers on their social media saying, hey, please watch out, we might have something coming up soon, we need your support, let's work this out? Is that something that they can do, or that's something that you should put off?
No, I think absolutely start right away. And it's really about starting with why. Like, what are you offering? What are you struggling through? People like honesty. I think that marketing is thought of as being this perfect end product. And what social media has really done is that it's allowed us to break that perfection down and be like, this is where we're at. And people relate much more to the story, the feeling tone, your struggles. They want to donate because they see you and they see the journey that you're on. So
I can see that Stephanie raised her hand. I believe she has a question.
Yeah. My question is that KIVA is a platform that has its own
crowdfunding platform, right?
Right. But my question is, how much of the success of your campaign comes from being on the KIVA platform versus what you two are talking about? Feels to me like you're reaching out to your already supporters and asking them to join the KIVA platform.
So let's say you have decided to start a campaign or apply for a loan for KIVA, then you will have that platform itself. But on your social media, you can link in your campaign and KIVA itself and tell people, hey, we're trying to raise money. Please be aware that something's going to come out soon. And you can link whenever you have that link for KIVA, for the platform itself, you can include it on your social media or however you decide to use the channels. And
right, I understand the nuts and bolts of it. It's more of like it's more like a question of where the success lies. So if you did nothing with your already followers, the people who already love you, know your story, all of that, and you simply just got onto KIVA.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, there's two pieces of it. There's the private crowdfunding and then there's the public one. So in case you started the private crowdfunding, which is you, your family, and your community, if you were not able to achieve the goals that you should achieve, you will not go any further into that than into the public crowdfunding. You will not achieve the limits that you should achieve. So if you couldn't show that your community, friends and family supports you, then the lenders worldwide will not be able to support you as well. I think that's what you were referring to. Does that answer your question?
Your last sentence was then the lenders in the KIVA.
KIVA will not be able to access your application.
Right. I understand that. I'm just looking at it as a business owner. What is the benefit of doing this? And I could simply go to my customers right now and say, I'm in need of a loan. Will you loan to me? And sure, KIVA has a much nicer platform and an easier platform for that. But I'm just wondering, has anyone asked the question, if you don't go to your base, you don't go to your community, then how successful will you? Because I'm sure some people on the call say, I don't want people to know I need help. I just want to put it up on KIVA and someone in Texas can invest in me, and that's great.
Yeah, again, the piece of it, if you were not able to demonstrate that your community supports you, you will not move forward in the process to get to the KIVA platform. And I have also our director of finance on the call. If I'm saying anything that is not correct, please let me know, Bobby, and you feel free to jump in. But that's the piece that I get from the documents that I have from KIVA. If you will not be able to demonstrate that your community supports you, you will not be kind of moving forward into the public fundraising where everyone can see your campaign. So as we said, the first part is private. You have to demonstrate that your community supports you. Then if that happened, then you will move forward into the public fundraising where everyone on the KIVA can support you.
Yeah, I'll just chime in briefly here, Iyad. So the key is that they want to see that there's community support to move you along. So, you know, I agree with what you're saying, Stephanie. You may not be a business that wants your customer base to know that you are struggling in some way, but that's the key, is they want that community aspect and that support structure. So they ask you to crowdfund in your personal space for a certain amount of time before they will move you on to the larger KIVA platform, where you can reach out to the other folks throughout the United States and all the other trustees that are out there. And I think the benefit is, there's a couple of benefits. One, it's a 0% loan. Two, if you need $10,000, you need to just raise $5,000, and KIVA is going to match that additional 50%. So that's the other, the matching piece and the interest rate piece is the key. Plus, it's a very low bar as far as underwriting components are concerned. So, if you can't go to a traditional lender for whatever reason, this is a way for you to move your business along.
I can see also Will raise a hand. Hey, Will, nice to see you again.
Hi, hopefully you all can hear me okay with the headphones. I guess off of Stephanie's question, so if we raise a certain amount within our community, we get to move on through the process to the larger KIVA platform. Is that benchmark like 50%, or is it just some threshold and then KIVA will make up the difference? Like when do we have to hit that 50%? Is that only in our community, or can we rely on the KIVA?
It depends. So when you send in your own application, they will review it and they determine what kind of amount you're eligible to get. So let's say if they determine that you will get $15,000, then you'll only have to raise $7,500 on both platforms, private and public. So within the community and then worldwide on the KIVA platform, and then they will match it. Whenever you have to hit that threshold of 7,500, they will match that.
So I think another way to say this, Will, is if you are looking for $10,000 and you raise $5,000 in your private fundraising from your family and friends, you've met your requirement, and then KIVA matches the difference. If you are only able to raise 25% or 35% from your private crowdfunding group, then you move to the full KIVA platform, where folks in Texas or California or Maine or wherever, they have the option of funding you. So then that's really where it's very important for you to tell the story, because when you go to the KIVA platform, you can see all sorts of interesting, projects that are out there. And there's there's people that want to do this type of investing. The other thing that Iad hasn't mentioned is, as far as private investment is concerned, the minimum is $25. So if you want to go out to all your family and friends, they can contribute a minimum of $25. And then of course there's not a maximum. So if you're asking for a certain amount, then, and you have, two people that can fund that, they can do that. But the minimum is $25.
Okay. Thank you, Ella, for your time. I know that you have something happening at 4:50. I really appreciate your time.
I can actually stay on longer. I'll stay on to the end, but thanks. Happy to help.
Great. Thank you so very much. Our next guest would be a business owner who has been through crowdfunding. They are the Flatiron Cooperative in Dawes Falls. Please welcome Bry. Good evening, Bry.
Can you hear me?
Now we can. Now we can. Good evening. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
I hope you're feeling better.
I am. Yes, we're over COVID.
Great.
Yeah.
I'm glad to see you here. I appreciate you taking the time and the energy to be on the call with us. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Since you've been through this process of crowdfunding, what were some of the challenges that you face in the community, if any?
I opened the Flatiron Cooperative about a month and a half ago in Bellows Falls. It's a coffee house with 2 other women as a worker-owned cooperative. And what we did to raise money for that venture was we did a Kickstarter campaign. I had never heard of KIVA until you wrote to me about it. So we went into it knowing it would be like a full-time job, and it was pretty overwhelming. And I would say,
do you think the overwhelming feeling was because there was no platform that you can direct your, fundraising efforts onto?
I think it was. I think, I feel like with KIVA, you have just some more immediate help, at least, that you don't have with something like Kickstarter. You do everything yourself unless you ask for help, and then we weren't, we weren't naturally sort of accustomed to asking for help. So that was one of our biggest challenges, was asking for money, which is a scary thing to do, and asking for help. And I think that I want to piggyback on something Ella said, which was just honesty and authenticity is like the most important thing when you're trying to say, hey, this is what I'm doing, can you help me? And we probably set our goal too high, but we did meet it. We asked for $45,000 and we got that. And it was a big ask. And I think one of the biggest things that we wish we did different is we contacted the local newspapers. We wish we did it sooner because we ended up getting a lot of support from those efforts. And I don't think we realized how much support would have, came from that. And so it was just sort of, it just like almost an afterthought when it should have been at the forefront of our process.
Okay. What you could have done differently that could have prevented you from getting the overwhelmed feeling of not knowing what to do, not being prepared, and all the issues that you faced? throughout? I mean, you just mentioned that you should have done the newspaper prior or in advance, and that's another piece that Ella and I were talking about. Maybe start teasing your clients or community about what you're preparing to do so that they are ready to support you. Is that what you could have done differently, maybe?
Yeah, I'd start earlier. I mean, definitely at least a month before launching the campaign. We would have started, we did start early. We would have started even earlier. And one of the things we did do, which was really important, is we made this huge list of everyone that loves us, like our family, our friends, our followers, our fans. And we made sure that they were supporting us on day one, because like a big day one is really important in any kind of campaign like that. Because when you're asking for money and you make, $10,000, I think we made like, I don't know, $7,000 or $8,000 on the first day. It was a lot. It was really exciting. And it was like, then people say, wow, this is legit. Let's add to this. And they, and then the number goes up even more. And then there's this big slump in the middle, which is really normal. And, so just do everything you can to, get a big day one. That was the best advice I got. And we took it and it worked.
Great. Are you willing to share any advice with people on the call today? Things that you've learned from your own mistakes, or things that to prevent them from feeling overwhelmed, at least?
Say it again.
And do you have any advice for businesses on the call with us tonight that help them prevent what you've been through?
Oh,
advice.
So it's less overwhelming?
Maybe. I mean, it is just being early, being prepared.
Yeah, starting
doing
early.
your...
And one thing that I kept procrastinating because I thought I can't, I don't know how to make a video, and all the things that I knew I needed to do. And basically I just got help. I had a friend who knew someone who got help with the video, and all these things just started falling into place when I just asked everyone I knew for help. And I wasn't used to that. And, I'm used to doing everything myself, and you just can't. And I made an incredible oversight. I don't know how this happened. I guess I assumed I put so much effort into the campaign that I didn't realize that Kickstarter does not disperse the funds on the last day of the campaign. It's a full 2 weeks after the campaign ends that you get your money. And it's like, I didn't even look into the details of that. So it was just one of these things that I somehow
missed.
And we were
overlooked.
we had also applied for a loan, and thank goodness the timing of that covered what we needed it to. And it was one of these things where I thought, how did I not notice that it's still another 14 days before we will see any of this money. So, things like that, because it's kind of amazing that I didn't know that, but there's a lot to keep track of. And it was the first time, and none of us are marketing people. And so I don't know if that's helpful, or if anyone has any questions. It was the first time I'd ever done it, but not the first time I'd ever donated. So I was able to see it as somebody who had donated to people who had made major life changes and were chasing dreams. And I knew what moved me as somebody who would give and support a campaign. And I tried to kind of use that and like turn it around and say, well, now I'm doing it, so.
Yeah. And that's maybe the feeling that Ella was sharing, building your own story, reflecting your own feelings.
Yeah, I'd actually love to just add on to that, some things that we didn't quite finish up, Iyad, if you don't mind. But I can't emphasize how much starting with that story and really identifying, it's also, he calls it the golden triangle, starting with the why, going out to the how, and then the what. It's working inside out. Most brands work outside in. And I've added on into this model, you add also the where, when, after, and then a made possible by. And that actually creates this whole community. So if you can spend a really deep amount of time with these quality stories, answer 5 questions, they will live everywhere. And you don't start to think about it with, oh, I need a video. How do I plug in this into a video format? It's like, I got the why. Is the video even right? It might not be right for your story or what you want to say. And it's really about, you can use that on the website. You can use that on your email. It's like, you have these now stories that should live everywhere. And that's the power of the consistency. It's the same message over and over in every channel with a slight twist to the channel, to the time. And it's the story that will move them. And an example, so there's 3 things. You'll get a YouTube. There's this book by Simon Sinek, who will also go into this. And then if you want a real-time example, I worked with at Yala Vermont on Instagram. We didn't do any bells and whistles. We just wrote 8 Instagram posts. And over that course of maybe 2 weeks, we were answering these questions. We saw a 328% engagement increase. And this is not likes. Engagement, the way I measured it, it is absent of likes. It's actually the people that saved it, commented, or forwarded it. That is the best thing you could ever want. 328% with 8 stories. So it's really like, if you can nail that story and the feeling and the authenticity and why you're doing it and connect with the heart of it, you're connecting to the heart of somebody else. You got them and they're on your journey. And then all you owe them is the whole journey. They want to hear the consistency of what's happening, what's going on. And that's what social does allow. It's like bite-sized micro content. And the other thing is, from the algorithmic standpoint, more is not better. Consistency is better. If you can only post once a week, only post once a week, but do it every week. Yala, we did it only 2, maybe 3 times a week. And we saw these results. So it can be really simple if you start with the stories and you take away the channels, take away the numbers. The feeling will drive the numbers.
I think it's really hard. But I think
really hard.
I think what you're saying, yeah, I think it's really hard to do. So I think if there's another word of advice is, know that going in, and don't let that stop you. You might do 50 takes of the video where you're just looking at the camera, being really honest. This is why I need this money. This is what I want to do. It's really hard to do that. It's not easy.
I know, I understand, yeah.
Yes, and for that, I will go back to the video in your pitch for the KIVA loan. And first of all, again, the video is optional and it's just showcasing your business. So there shouldn't be a lot of you trying to sell your business on that while sitting and confronting the camera. The video is more about your business itself and what products you're selling or making, or the services that you're providing. The selling point would be in your personal story, which is under 300 words, and or the business description itself. And of course, another selling point is you standing next to your business representation smiling. That's another selling point for KIVA. Thank you for your advice, Bri. I really appreciate you being on a call, and I'm glad to see you doing better. I can see a question from Stephanie about the time, and is it the time, duration, or dollar amount that allows you to go into a larger KIVA audience? So as long as you can demonstrate that your community is supporting you, that window will be open for the private fundraising, will be open for up to, I believe it's 15 days. It is 15 days. After the 15 days are finished, if you've reached what you need, your share, then LISC will match it and you don't have to go through the public fundraising. If you didn't get to your threshold, then you will you will be moving forward towards your public fundraising, and the window for that is up to 30 days. So if you were able to, maybe you need only 1 day in public fundraising, you'll get all the money that you need, and that's it. You won't have to sit through the 30 days. Any other questions that I can answer or help you with? Great. I would like to thank all of you for being on call. I really appreciate all the questions, all the guests. Thank you so very much for being on the call. In the email that I will send out, you will receive a link for this recording, a presentation with all details for KIVA, a link for KIVA, a link as well for the loan application itself, so that you can get familiarized with the stuff. Again, we are here to support you throughout the process. And again, the first step of the process is getting in touch with us so we can provide the technical assistance that you will need throughout this process. Don't feel overwhelmed. We are here to help. We can help you with getting connected with marketing people if that is your weakest point. We can help you with financials and all of that. So please don't feel that it's overwhelming a lot. We are here to support, and that's what we are here for. Okay. Again, thank you so very much. Have a great night and take care, everyone. Bye-bye.